21 disturbing shows, 7 levels. I've put together some of the most unsettling shows ever aired on TLC. We'll start with some uncomfortable ones and slowly work down into the most inhumane and exploitative content sold as entertainment. So, let's start at the tip of the iceberg. Level 1. Polygamy rebranded.
You're going to meet a polygamous family so controversial that even other polygamists disapprove of them. Brady Williams and his 5 wives and 24 children are letting in the cameras in ways you've never seen before, and ABC's Cecilia Vega traveled to Utah to meet this very large, very unusual family.
Brady Williams in My 5 Wives moves from house to house as his 5 wives wait for their turn to spend quality time with him. The husband frequently describes himself as a feminist, arguing that his wives, Polly, Robin, Rosemary, Noni, and Rhonda, freely chose this lifestyle. However, what this reveals is the constant emotional strain as one man tries to balance everything among his 5 women and 24 children. Surprisingly, he is still not satisfied and desires to have even more kids. After all, one can never have too many kids. The first crack in their relationship appears during family meetings where Brady makes the decisions while the women adjust their lives around his preferences.
I just want to go over who I owe what having to do with anniversaries. So I only have one more anniversary, then I'm back. So everybody will be caught up except for Rosemary.
When conflict arises, the responsibility always falls on the wives to manage their jealousy and work on themselves as if they are the problem and not him. The wives present a facade of supporting one another, but it's clear that they are exhausted and emotionally worn down from constantly competing for attention. The power imbalance becomes explicit when Rhonda, the 5th wife, navigates the complex adoption process while Brady decides who gets extra time and whom he'll consult first on decisions affecting everyone. On paper, Brady is only married to one woman, his first wife, Polly. To the law, the rest are simply mistresses. Polly even admits her marriage certificate gives her power that the others will never have.
I feel very fortunate and special that I am Brady's first wife. I know that in Brady's heart, I have a special place.
This is the worst polyamorous relationship. However, Polly's wishful thinking came crashing down when Brady announced to the other wives that polygamy is now legal. My 5 Wives presents Brady and his polygamous family as modern and progressive, as they had moved away from strict Mormon beliefs that didn't welcome them. So he gets to choose what is good about the religion and discard it when it no longer serves him. What a funny guy. The impact of this arrangement shows in the next generation. Watching this insanity play out growing up, his first child, Carly, vowed never to participate in the nightmare of sharing her man. Critics argue that My 5 Wives ultimately failed to disguise the inherent inequalities of polygamy, at least in this form. They note that while he hung tightly to his feminist label, his actions throughout the episodes contradicted it. The show was later canceled by TLC after its 2nd season. By the way, I have friends in polygamous relationships that have been going very, very well. This show should not be considered a standard for a good polyamorous, polycule thing. Level 2. Exes under one roof. In You, Me, and My Ex, Jerry moves his new girlfriend, Kay, into the same house he still shares with his ex-wife, Jessica, and their children. He made this decision without caring about how Jessica, who dropped everything to attend to him when he was on the brink of death, would feel.
I was like, what? I tried not to overreact because I didn't want the kids to know how upset I was. It was a big shock.
The only explanation he had was that it was his house and he had the right to bring whoever he wanted. Jerry had met his new girlfriend a year ago at an airport sunglasses boutique and fell in love instantly. They had been dating online for 9 months. At that time, Jerry was divorced from his 15-year marriage with Jessica, which didn't end well, so he was hoping to feel a connection again. However, after some dates with Kay, he fell sick. His health later improved due to spending time with his family and navigating life again with them.
I had histoplasmosis, which is a fungal infection in my blood and in my lungs. My lungs were completely filled. I had liver failure, kidney failure, respiratory failure, a blood infection. So they told my boys and my brother, there's no way I could probably make it through the night.
But all that has changed with Kay coming into the picture. She struggles to get along with the children, and even worse, she isn't allowed in Jerry's room. Instead, they make her stay in the closet. At the same time, Jessica is forced to watch Jerry's new relationship unfold inside the space that was once hers. In another episode, April divorced her husband Roy to marry her neighbor John. But despite the divorce, April and Roy maintain a close relationship, co-parenting, sharing financial accounts, and co-owning their previous house that John moved into. John's ex-wife Lauren moved 8 houses away from their home when he got together with April. Roy did the same too, moving 4 houses away from their home.
Originally, I lived with Roy. John and his wife Lauren lived next door to us. Then when John and I got together, Roy moved 4 houses down, and Lauren moved 8 houses down with her friend Heather.
So now we're switching houses too? This sounds like the worst math problem. I hate it. They claimed that being together was because both of their marriages were in vulnerable states. For John and April, leaving their partners and coming together was driven by a unique connection. Even with this claim, April finds herself getting a machine tattoo with her ex-husband Roy without John's knowledge. Now, what's unsettling about this TV series is that it encourages couples to remain deeply entangled with their exes. And some of these exes live next door, others stay inseparable friends, and a few even go on vacation together. I'm all for healthy separations, but that's not even separating. Each episode centers on jealousy, blurred boundaries, and the emotional strain of shared parenting, shared trips, and late-night conversations that shouldn't even be discussed. You, Me, and My Exes received backlash for its questionable relationship dynamics and for exploiting personal issues for TV, making viewers feel even dumber for watching. The reality series aired for 2 seasons before going silent. No official announcements have been made yet for another season. Playing with death. Daniel has a crazy obsession with eating raw beef, and as bizarre as that sounds, he isn't planning to stop anytime soon. His diet is completely dependent on uncooked ingredients, including chicken, and he's been doing that for the last 6 years. To Daniel, it's not just the act of eating, it's a feeling as smooth as butter.
It's absolutely worth it to eat raw meat, even though there's consequences. Consequences are minor. I like to pull it, I like to see the muscles. There's no real reason behind it besides I like the taste and texture. It's like butter.
Genuinely, even before I was a vegetarian, just handling raw meat was always just one of my least favorite things, so eating it, no. Even though he reads the caution labels on the meat he purchases, the fact that he hasn't been hospitalized yet makes him think he's immune. No matter how much his family, especially his brother Bryant, warns him about the consequences, he just won't stop. Worried that Daniel might succumb to his unhealthy obsession, the brother had to seek professional help for him. So experts sat down and tried to educate him about the risks of eating raw food, especially meat, because serious infection, organ damage, and potential death didn't scare Daniel. Left with no choice, they let him see the lab test performed on a sample of meat from his own freezer. As expected, the test came out positive for E. coli bacteria.
E. coli is incredibly dangerous. It starts with stomach cramps, diarrhea, headaches, fever, bloody stools, but then it can quickly progress to organ failure and death.
Throughout the series, the camera is positioned in a way that viewers get to gawk at his recklessness more than the why behind his dangerous habit. It all started when, as a child, Daniel had begun eating raw biscuit dough, a way to rebel against the rules of his military household. However, the broader controversy around freaky eaters is that people's disorders and medical risks are packaged as freaky entertainment first and patient care second. In another episode of Freaky Eaters, a man named Victor Munoz ate nothing but cheeseburgers for 30 years. He eats them multiple times a day, every single day. At 260 pounds and diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at age 34, the physical toll is undeniable. But what pushed things to a crisis point was when his wife gave him an ultimatum: get help or lose his family. Unlike Daniel, who refuses to believe he is in danger, Victor knows exactly what he's doing to himself. He watched his health deteriorate, felt the effects of the diabetes, and has seen the pain in his wife's eyes, yet he can't stop on his own.
I am definitely trapped by burgers. I've been trying to do this on my own my whole life. I can't. I need help.
When experts confronted him with the reality that he could lose his feet to diabetes complications or die before seeing his kids grow up, Victor broke down, but still found it hard to resist the burgers. He had been like that since age 5, refusing anything aside from burgers from his worried mother. While the show frames to also help him with his unhealthy habit by taking him through therapists, it is clear they want the viewers to judge rather than sympathize. Freaky Eaters eventually stopped airing, but the damage was done. Critics argue that people's genuine struggles became content, and their health risks transformed into ratings hooks. Clashed faith. An ex-Amish husband in Forbidden Love is confronted by his wife for watching 3 to 5 times daily.
I thought I could trust you after you said you were changing the last time I'd go through your phone. Yet again, it's happening. I see all these visits to different sites.
But Elmer justifies it by claiming some Amish individuals engage in to cope with forbidden intimacy. Lindsay and Elmer's storyline centers on compulsivity. He left the Amish community, married Lindsay, and promised to stop his habit and focus on building their little family against all odds. And now she feels betrayed and humiliated, subconsciously comparing herself to the women in the videos her husband watches for pleasure. Elmer, like always, blamed his isolated upbringing and newfound access to technology, framing his compulsion as inevitable rather than something he actively chose to hide. However, their marriage got strained to the verge of divorce, arguing over who would get custody of their daughter, Leela. Elmer wants 50-50 because he needs to give her the fatherly love he never experienced, but Lindsay is adamant about having full custody, believing he's not fit to be around their child. He expressed his dissatisfaction with Lindsay attacking him for growing up Amish, adding that it was even what had attracted her to him in the first place.
She's using the Amishness against me, but back when we got together, man, that's what she loved about me. She has the anger issues, she has the patience issues. She hasn't apologized about nothing. It was all about manipulation, control.
Another storyline features Ashley's conservative Christian family questioning her Muslim husband, Muhammad, right in front of her. They questioned his motives, pushed Islamophobic narratives to her face, and framed his faith as a red flag. Her family was afraid she would be forced to submit, which is against her upbringing.
Not only him, but the religion is so different. Do you really know what you're getting yourself into?
I cannot see you being quiet and submissive.
Now, this belief has caused a rift between Muhammad and Ashley's family, as he vowed to never see them again. However, Ashley's family isn't the only one against their marriage. Muhammad's twin brother Abdullah is too. He believes his brother has made the greatest mistake of his life by marrying a non-Muslim, and Ashley breaking his PlayStation during a heated argument about religion didn't help matters.
I don't know why Muhammad loves her. مجنونة. عائلة مجنونة أكثر وأكثر.
Besides, Ashley still struggles to fit into his religion since she promised to convert after marriage. Well, it's been 3 years and she hasn't. The series received backlash for capitalizing on their fights rather than moments that show it's worth seeing past their differences. Level 3. Body as a bargaining chip. A husband in Hot and Heavy tells his wife she cannot get life-saving weight loss surgery because he's only attracted to obese women. And if she went through with that surgery, he would replace her with another heavy woman.
Are you afraid that you're not going to be attracted to me if I'm thin?
I don't know, I still feel like if you were to lose that much weight, I mean, like, I don't even know how to, like, picture you.
I hate this guy already. However, Kristen frames her desire for weight loss surgery as trying to get another chance at life, as her health was rapidly deteriorating. This decision was needed to prevent further complications and to increase her chances of childbirth. But Rusty is not moved. He centered his preferences over her survival, emotionally guilt-tripping her for wanting to live life a little differently. He already had 3 kids from a previous relationship, but when Kristen mentions wanting a child of her own, he dismisses it, making her dreams negotiable and his f***ing obligation. Honest to God, Kristen, you should lose the weight and divorce him. Do not stay with this. When her Aunt Jeanette and cousin Selena first suggested going for gastric bypass surgery, her husband refused, saying there was no need, that she was perfect just like that. Yes, perfect being miserable.
For me, the bigger the better. Personally, I think a lot of guys are into bigger women. They just don't like to show it or admit it.
By the way, I should say, I'm all for body positivity. That's great, but if this is for her own health and she wants to, she should be allowed. It's her body. In another episode, Adriana Harris broke down in tears when a car passing by insulted her for being obese. She was out on a date with her partner, Ricardo Thompson, to rewind and feel the moment again. Finding out Adriana was pregnant evolved their relationship quickly, as they had to move in together for the birth of their son with no room left for public romantic gestures. Ricardo had played a very big role in her self-confidence and wanted her to remain that way. He finds bigger women to be more feminine-looking. He prioritizes his fetish before her health.
I have always loved bigger women because I find them to be more feminine looking, and if anybody feels like they should be ashamed of it, you shouldn't.
However, after the driver made a fat-phobic comment, Ricardo, in his defense, said she was 10 times the person the bully was. Come on, 10 times the person? You're no different from him, bro. Her date was ruined, and she felt even more conscious of her body, regretting why she stepped out in the first place.
You know, she has days where she doesn't feel like it, and it's like today, now she doesn't.
I'm like just done with today now.
The show, Hot and Heavy, didn't last long, but it perfectly captured TLC's formula. Take someone's genuine health crisis, add a partner with problematic motives, then film the conflict as empowerment. In its first week of premiering, viewers slammed the show's title and focused on heavier women, accusing TLC of fat phobia and arguing that it plus-size partners instead of genuinely empowering them. Arranged gimmick. In Marriage by Mom and Dad, 4 strangers meet their spouses for the first time at the altar, saying their vows to someone their parents think is the right match. The parents date and vet potential partners, then pick the person their kid will marry sight unseen. Devin's parents went on a date with their potential daughter-in-law, Ursula. However, their first impression of her showed she was not to be trusted.
I found Ursula reaching out to Devin to be a little disturbing because, I mean, this is an arranged thing there, and at the end of the day, she crossed that line.
I don't particularly trust a person that crosses those kind of lines.
The rule of the game was to never contact your suitor, but Ursula did the opposite. She had searched Devin up and they had conversations.
When I found out I was chosen and I didn't know anything about your son, and I was possibly gonna meet him at the altar. I reached out to him on social media and we texted.
Letting your parents handle your wedding means giving them total control, which Devin did. From shopping to cake testing to venue tours, except the event planner for the wedding was his ex. Devin had met his ex Britt on a dating app and they dated for a while before deciding to remain friends. Now, with Ursula, the entire courtship process happened in reverse, all the trappings of marriage without any actual relationship. Then comes the big day, the wedding, where the couples will see each other for the first time. Standing at the altar, surrounded by family and friends, and about to legally bind themselves to a complete stranger. The pair, who met minutes ago, are now officially married. The producers know most won't find love despite their parents' efforts because that's the business model. After all, humiliation and heartbreaks always gets more views than happy endings. The show didn't fare well for long, as viewers called it creepy and desperate for letting parents ask potential suitors awkward, intimate questions and exploiting the sanctity of marriage. Violence as entertainment. Gypsy Sisters erupted into a street brawl with hair-pulling, punches, and screaming. I don't like having to use the word because it's not exactly great here in America, but it is what it is. A spin-off of My Big Fat American Gypsy Wedding, the show followed a group of Romanical women, Nettie, Melly, Kayla, and Laura, whose lives were full of parties, feuds, and explosive fights. Not even their children were exempt.
Sure, we love to fight. But we always forgive and forget. Until next time.
Nettie's daughter Dallas got into an argument with her for comparing her to her sister Nucky, but Nettie didn't care about her feelings, insinuating she was immature for her age. And when Joanne, Nettie's sister, tried to break the tension between mother and daughter, it didn't end well. Nettie told her to stop being an unpaid therapist. These women sometimes get along, but other times it's chaos and they are not afraid to be caught on camera. Instead, they live for it. TLC filmed their dysfunction, where family moments become setups for the next blow-up. Reconciliation attempts were edited into cliffhangers, and these women's trauma became the content calendar season after season. The backlash was swift. Romani advocacy groups openly condemned the show for representing their community as violent and irrational. Intimacy debut as plot. A 42-year-old divorced virgin is pushed through exploration to lose her virginity on camera. Her name is Rasha.
I need to get spot. It's steamy. It stank.
The woman had never been intimate, not even in her last marriage of 10 months to an international student. The couple dated for 5 years, not knowing he was just pretending to be sweet to get the green card. After their wedding, he didn't reach out for any form of intimacy and would rather sleep in a different room.
He couldn't even look at me half the time, so that's how I knew he wasn't really interested and he had different motives.
Rasha innocently kept believing he was like that because of her body weight. Having moved past the heartbreak now, she wanted to explore, and the show provided just that. She was soon introduced to alternative before she even had vanilla. However, every moment of awkwardness, every flash of discomfort, or even shamelessness collectively moves the show forward. These women are people with genuine intimacy issues, traumatic histories, or religious backgrounds, hence why they hadn't gotten intimate. But instead of private therapy or personal exploration, they're performing their awakening for millions of viewers. Michelle, a 41-year-old virgin in another episode of The Virgins, felt her modesty was an accident, attributing it to being a nerd in high school and not attending college, which led to a less social lifestyle. She only kissed 2 men her entire life and also didn't let them touch her inappropriately. Michelle has never been in a room with a man.
I just feel like I need to get something off my chest because by not saying it and hiding it for so long, it makes it a bigger deal than it really should be. And so I've stopped myself from having conversations with people because I don't say this one thing. So I'm just getting it off, and that is that I'm still a virgin.
And now that she's ready to explore, she was going to lose her innocence in a grand way, throwing a party to tell her friends she is still a virgin. I mean, was that necessary? Virgins received backlash from some viewers for pushing a narrative that everyone must lose their innocence. The stories so far were deeply uncomfortable, but the next levels, they're gonna hit you on a deeper level. So hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. Level 4, communication as spectacle. In Love and Translation, 3 American men, Dylan, Cahill, and Trips, live in a tropical villa with 12 women from 9 different countries, forbidden from using any shared language or translators while navigating dates and hookups.
Studies have shown that 90% of communication is actually nonverbal, so we're going to put that theory to the test while answering the question, does love have no barriers?
They engage in eye-gazing exercise where strangers stare at each other in silence and literally sniff each other in the name of the pheromone-smelling task. However, all of this doesn't happen without a clash. Based on their cultures and ways of life, some of these women have different views on intimacy. Irie drew a hard line. In her world, a kiss isn't cheap currency to be spent on a game. Giving it out without meaning is taboo in Japanese culture.
Kissing on the cheek might happen between male and female friends, but we don't kiss on the lips unless we are in a committed relationship.
The 3 men have to shuffle between 12 women confused about their feelings. Dylan confessed to feeling guilty for cheating on Tule with Yam, afraid that the connection they have would fizzle out once she finds out. The women also showed dissatisfaction with Dylan, Trips, and Cahill toying with their emotions, even turning them against one another. The format deliberately removes basic communication tools so that they cannot talk through consent and discuss boundaries. The show frames confusion and misread signals as fun drama instead of an ethical problem. Imane walked away in anger when Trips insisted she had to kiss him first. To her, that thought alone was despicable. Viewers have tied the series' format to the Passport Bros dynamic. American men shopping for foreign women who they believe would be more compliant. Paternity as performance. 2 couples living together admit to dating each other's spouses in polyfamily. 2 married couples, Alicia and Tyler and Sean and Taya, share a home, rotate partners, and raise 4 children as one family. The quad is led by Sean Heartless, whose past would eventually catch up with them. They claimed not to date partners outside of their circle because the love is rotated among one another.
A closed quad is 4 people, us. We're only dating within ourselves and married within ourselves. We don't have any outside partners. Like everybody else, right?
Alicia and Tyler had 2 kids before entering a relationship with Sean and Taya. Being with the other duo, they were able to have 2 more children, with the 3rd one on the way. This is where the dynamic shifts from unconventional to psychologically damaging. The biological father of the 3 youngest children is intentionally unknown, even to them, to prevent jealousy, but it's not like it's guaranteed. And boundaries are sure to be crossed when one man goes too far with the other person's wife. Alicia couldn't hide her emotions when she witnessed Tyler's bond with Taya. They looked more in love than Tyler is with her.
Are you doing it that much or doing these certain things with somebody because you don't get what you need from me? I don't want to hear about Tyler and Taya's lives. It still is really hard for me.
There have been some concerns from family members and friends questioning the arrangement, cutting communication with them. Alicia's friend Kathleen expressed her worries for the future, where things might eventually go south.
The biggest thing about it is, what if it doesn't work out? You know, they went into it with 2 kids and now there's 5 kids, and how that would affect anything if things were to change.
The show received harsh criticism for the unknown paternity decision and concerns about children's well-being. Viewers called it cringe and dysfunctional. Moreover, star Sean Hartless of Poly Family faced severe backlash after revelations of undisclosed ex-wives, children, and even a 2016 investigation for alleged inappropriate online conduct with them finally emerged. I am all for the promotion of a healthy polycule, but boy oh boy does television never show that apparently. Yeesh. Elderly obsession. A young man introduces his 91-year-old girlfriend to the world as the best thing that happened to him. In Strange Addiction, Kyle, 31, and Octavio, 40, share an unusual pattern. They exclusively date women old enough to be their grandmothers.
I don't know, I noticed her right away and I thought she was hot. I asked her for her phone number and she said yes.
It was shocking to have a young guy that young be interested in it because it felt like an old woman.
Kyle's obsession started in 6th grade with his 65-year-old teacher. By 18, he was already dating a 50-year-old woman. Now, at 31, being set up with women his own age doesn't interest him in the slightest. He prefers his women to be extremely old. I mean, forget dating apps with age filters, this guy programmed his to start at 65. And Kyle's 91-year-old girlfriend, Marge, isn't ashamed to explore either. Before Kyle, she had dated men younger than her for the thrill of it. She loved the intimacy and being in charge as a dancer. With Kyle by her side, Marge doesn't mind the awkward glances sent her way. And aside from dating Marge, Kyle loves having deep, intimate moments with Shirley. However, by labeling these relationships as strange addiction, it shows TLC wants the intent to be known. It is exactly what the title is. Octavio is another older woman addict who recently broke up with his 77-year-old girlfriend and is now on the lookout for another love interest. His first relationship with an older woman, age 38, began when he was just 13, and it lasted for a year.
Ever since I was a kid, I have felt a pretty strong attraction to older women. I had already kissed girls my age, and it was nice, but it was never this passionate.
No! No! Ah! Now, Octavio is out on a date with Elsa, an award-winning cougar, hoping she's the one this time. Elsa admitted Octavio was a sweet guy with lots of sparkles and even loved him for his honesty. But even at that, his heart still belongs to his ex, Joanne.
Every time I see her, I take one look at her, it makes me feel like I'm home. She's extremely beautiful and elegant.
He had to take Joanne on a stroll around Beverly Hills to catch up on moments and consider coming back together. Surprisingly, My Strange Addiction's new season will premiere in 2026, continuing from where it left off. Level 5, Little for Life. In I Am Shauna Ray, a woman in her 20s tries to go on blind dates while strangers constantly mistake her for a child.
A 22-year-old woman stuck in the body of an 8-year-old.
We can't have children at the bar.
I want to get a tattoo.
How old are you?
There is an age requirement. I'm 22.
And TLC takes full advantage of dropping Shauna into bars, job interviews, apartment hunts, and along with dates. Every episode manufactures the same tension. Bartenders card her multiple times, strangers talk down to her, and people question whether she's really an adult. The cameras don't just document this, they seek it out. Constant reminders that she looks like a little girl. A treatment damaged her pituitary gland, which controls growth. She stopped growing around age 8, leaving her just 3 feet 10 inches tall as an adult. Setups are designed to trigger confusion. Places like the beach, where she's in the midst of children who think she is in their age bracket. Well, children, she's way older than all of you combined.
Usually when a kid comes up to me, I am respectful. If they want to color, I'll color with them, but I usually make sure it's okay with the parents because usually the parent understands I'm a little older than the kid thinks.
What makes it truly unsettling is how obvious the exploitation feels. TLC markets this as empowering, giving Shauna a platform to challenge assumptions. The actual content contradicts that mission. Instead of normalizing her life, every episode centers on shocked reactions and uncomfortable conversations. Shauna had brain cancer as a kid. The structure is always the same. Shauna tries to do something normal, people treat her weirdly, and she has to correct them repeatedly.
And the fact that she's not understanding that people are staring at me, she's not understanding that I'm already in an uncomfortable situation, and her trying to push me to do more, it just sets me off.
Fans took to social media slamming TLC for capitalizing on her condition for ratings. The show stopped airing after its second season in 2023, with no official announcements from TLC on its continuation. Unlikely things. My Pregnant Husband follows a trans man through pregnancy, filming his dysphoria, medical appointments, and the reactions of everyone around them. Miles is a trans man married to a trans woman named Precious, and they are eagerly anticipating the birth of their baby.
So I'm currently 8 months pregnant, and we do know the gender of the baby.
We're having a little girl, and I'm gonna name her Zane.
But right before this moment, police had stopped Miles suspecting theft. The officers see a pregnant person who looks male and can't make sense of it. They think he's hiding stolen items under his clothes. The medical reality matters here. Trans men who get pregnant often stop taking testosterone during that time. That pause can make dysphoria worse, the uncomfortable feeling when your body doesn't match who you are inside. After all, for someone who identifies as male, being pregnant can feel completely wrong, even if they want the baby. The show positions trans men's bodies as inherently fascinating rather than simply human. The producers engineer scenarios that are guaranteed to generate shock. Every confused stranger, every awkward appointment. In another episode of My Pregnant Husband, Ari, a transgender man, has been in labor for 30 hours. And there was a condition given by the doctor. He had to get the baby out in 3 pushes or have an emergency C-section against his wish.
My doctor said, if I don't get the baby out in 3 pushes, then we're gonna have to give you an emergency C-section. I said, no way. Like, I'll keep pushing.
Ari is married to Caitlin, who identifies as queer, and their wish is to both be pregnant and birth their child in the Hebrew women way, but Caitlin couldn't due to some complications of being older. They used a trusted friend's sperm for Ari's insemination process, and he eventually got pregnant. The camera always captured awkward glances thrown at him for being a pregnant man. Now, at the labor room, he pushes himself to the extreme, forcing the baby out. It was the same thing as a straight woman giving birth, just that the producers dramatized it. TLC frames this as awareness raising, showing the discrimination trans men face, but the marketing and editing reveal different priorities. They knew viewers would share clips of a pregnant man being in the labor room. Spectacle. The Man with No features Andrew, who was born with bladder exstrophy, a condition where the bladder develops outside the body. His life with the disease was so miserable that he had tried to end it, saying his final goodbyes to his loved ones. but the call to his sister saved him from committing the unthinkable when she dialed 911. Growing up, life was tough for Andrew, from being given up by his biological mother to having 15 surgeries. TLC isn't interested in exploring those realities with care. The title screams sensationalism. The marketing leans into curiosity about his body. Every storyline circles back to how his condition affects relationships, treating his body as the central mystery viewers need to solve.
I knew it from the newspaper.
I was so embarrassed to have done that to her, but it's like you're ending a relationship if you say it, and you'll do anything not to end it.
I mean, to say it, it's just madness. I don't have a...
One scene captures the show's entire approach really well. Andrew visits another man, Leonard, with the same condition. This could have been a meaningful connection, with two people understanding each other's struggles. Instead, the production edits it like a quirky novelty, two guys bonding over what the show frames as bizarre anatomy. The most uncomfortable moment happens at an amusement park. Andrew tells his girlfriend about his condition during what should be a private conversation. The camera films everything, turning his vulnerable disclosure into dramatic content. The editing doesn't respect the gravity of that moment. It milks it for shock value, making sure viewers get their emotional payoff before moving on. His girlfriend breaks down on national television. Moments like this become a manufactured emotional climax for viewers to consume.
We decided the best thing to do is break up, because it's impossible.
And what's truly disturbing is the fact that the series is marketed as acceptance and normalizing differences, but everything about the production contradicts that. The framing, the title, and the constant return to his body. Everything positions Andrew as someone whose differences make him fascinating rather than just human. Uncomfortable stares. In The Man with the 132-pound scrotum, Wesley Warren Jr. hobbles down the street carrying over 130 pounds of extra tissue while people stop and stare. Wesley lives with massive scrotal lymphedema that left him carrying so much weight between his legs. The show follows him struggling to find clothes that fit, improvising solutions to support the growth, and meeting with doctors who state risky surgeries to remove it.
The size of the sack makes it impossible for me to wear a normal set of trousers or jeans. And so, one must be innovative.
However, Warren himself describes feeling like a living, breathing freak show. Daily tasks like getting in the car that most people take for granted become major challenges, as the weight puts stress on the entire body. Wesley admits that he finds it hard to talk to ladies and has been single for 6 years now. He claimed he wasn't even physically attractive enough for a woman to even want to stop and pay him attention.
So, therefore, when I happen to get even more unattractive, it just makes it a lot easier to deal with.
TLC could have made a documentary exploring the medical side, the healthcare failures that let Warren's condition progress this far, or the emotional weight of living with such a visible difference. Instead, the show focuses on shock value. The cameras follow Warren in public, capturing every stare and uncomfortable moment. The editing highlights his struggle to do basic things, framing each scene to maximize viewer discomfort. They document his life and eventually help him get surgery, but the entire production is built around spectacle. Reviewers saw many things wrong with the show, especially the shocking title and the way he was filmed like a circus act to profit from his suffering. The series was a one-time special that aired in 2013, and unfortunately, Warren died only a year later in 2014. Shunned from society. 39-year-old Ed Port travels for high-risk reconstructive surgery to address massive facial tumors in my massive face tumor. Life was not easy for Ed Port, as he couldn't move freely without strangers staring at him and children calling him a monster. He struggles to work or move, and instead of helping, people around him just hurled jokes. The tumor had completely affected the bone around his eye socket and had nearly pushed him to the verge of blindness in one eye. His left ear is not spared from this pain, nor are the other parts of his face. So far, he has had several surgeries over the years, but nothing changed. What's revolting is that Ed Port could have been saved before it got this bad. Years ago, his mother noticed a side of his face swollen and took him to the hospital. However, the doctor dismissed the tumor as just baby fat and told his mother not to worry about it.
His mom first noticed before he was a year old. Took him to the doctor, and the doctor said it was just, baby fat, not to be concerned at all. Children, will have one side of their face a little larger than the other.
Baby fat on only one side of the cheek, huh, Doc? Well, that dismissal effectively wrote off years of disfigurement, letting the tumor grow unchecked. The show is paying for and filming surgery that genuinely helps, but they're also packaging his worst trauma and medical neglect as entertainment. A newer version of My Massive Face Tumor, Take My Tumor, followed this same pattern. Amy has been suffering from a back tumor, benign lipoma, for over 17 years with no help.
When I'm examining a patient with a soft tissue mass, I want to know the shape. Is it a nice, rounded, smooth thing? Also, how well circumscribed it is, meaning does it have nice, smooth borders? Amy's tumor looks like a large mass.
The risk that comes with it is the ability to spread to the lung and cause even greater harm. She lived life like she would not be free from it, always worried about the potential of it turning into cancer. But in the eyes of the production, that fear is just a plot device. TLC always dramatizes the ticking clock before finally granting the medical access these people should have had decades ago. Viewers slammed TLC for dramatizing cast conditions and using them as the show title. Level 6, Unseen Cut. In Policewomen of Broward County, 4 deputies in the sheriff's office patrol, chase suspects, and make arrests. The focus is on Deputy Andrea Penoyer, a central figure in the series.
This guy's very surveillance conscious. He's probably going to attempt to flee. However, he was on the run, couldn't find him.
The situation on the ground involves a suspect, Brandon Johnson, behind the wheel of a car. According to official reports, the vehicle backs up before suddenly accelerating toward the officers, striking Penoyer in the leg, and in an instant reaction to the perceived threat, the deputies open fire. The result is brutal. Johnson is struck multiple times, receiving a wound directly to the mouth, losing 3 teeth. That must have hurt. This is where the line between entertainment and reality becomes disturbingly thin. While the show is designed to package police work as heroic, the details here are messy. Johnson's account completely contradicts the official narrative. He claims he was simply asking for medical help when the started flying. Left with no choice, he drove the car in reverse.
He sells. He's armed. With the overwhelming amount of evidence I have on him, in addition to his new charges today, he's going to be going away for a long time.
What makes this moment so unsettling is how the reality TV format distorts the gravity of the violence. The production creates an environment where viewers are conditioned to view these deputies as protagonists in a drama, rooting for them to catch the bad guys. But unlike a scripted series, the blood here is real. A grazed across his skin. He had some chest wounds and ended up coughing 2 weeks later. Johnson has a record with Broward County that includes 3 convictions for possession, twice with intent to sell or distribute. But his aunt argued that he wasn't supposed to be at for his previous record. The very existence of the series relies on turning dangerous police interactions into thrilling content, which inherently biases the viewer against questioning the use of force, as this was the second time in 5 months of Broward policewomen at a suspect.
This arrest was personal. I started this case from the very beginning. When I see defeat on the face of a bad guy, it's moments like that that make that whole months of investigation all worth it.
The incident sparked local outrage but resulted in no disciplinary action for Penoyer while Johnson faced charges. However, the legacy of the event serves as a harsh reminder of what happens when law enforcement is framed for entertainment. That is a situation that's very close to the that just happened from those ice pieces of. The Holy Trap. Garrick pushes to bring a new woman into the marriage while his wife, Danielle, breaks down right next to him in Sister Wives. But the control we saw on TV was about to turn criminal. He suggested bringing a sister wife as that was God's instruction for their marriage, and there was a woman he had been seeing on a dating app, Roberta. Danielle, who had reluctantly accepted, found out that Roberta and Garrick got under her nose.
We had a moment. I didn't tell you because I didn't know if it was going to hurt you or not. You guys had...
Yeah. What did she think they were doing, singing together? Ugh. Roberta couldn't push through with the arrangements as her mother fell sick. However, that didn't stop Garrick. He kept going on a couple more dates to get another sister wife. And after several searches, they decided to bring Lorena to the US as his new wife, following his divorce agreement with Danielle.
We just picked up Lorena at the airport, and it's her first day in America. Now that there's 2 wives in the house, Lorena and I take turns going downstairs and spending nights with Garrick, and then we share our sister room, which is on the 2nd floor.
The production treats Danielle's jealous moments like content to be harvested, forcing the viewers to watch a woman realize she has no say in her own life. Eventually, in November 2025, the control Garrick showed on camera towards Danielle turned criminal. He was arrested in Colorado for domestic violence against his new Brazilian wife, Lorena. Police reports say he grabbed her phone to stop her from calling for help. Worse, he allegedly used the ultimate threat against an immigrant spouse. He threatened to call ICE on her. Hey, Garrick, you're a real piece of shit. That arrest changes everything about the earlier seasons. It reveals that the jealousy the show blamed on Danielle was likely a survival instinct. The show's structure relies on a husband getting what he wants while his wife is pressured to swallow her pain.
You know, the fact that I'm getting legally married to Lorena, it could put Danielle in a vulnerable spot, and my children.
It is a concern of mine. You never know what somebody will do and the outcome of things.
TLC doesn't ask hard questions about consent when immigration status and religious guilt are used as weapons. They just film the drama. As of the latest update, the series just finished airing its 6th season in November 2025. The Deadly Edit. In Welcome to Plathville, Olivia Plath went public in 2025 accusing TLC and Discovery of ignoring and covering up maltreatment. On screen, Ethan Plath is framed as a naive, lovable husband learning how to drink a Coke or use a cell phone. But the picture Olivia paints is much darker. She released a video that captures how suffocating it was to be Ethan's wife.
When I look in his eyes, I don't even know who he is. He's hateful and aggressive. I don't even know. Why am I doing this? I don't have words for this. I don't know.
She also released a TikTok audio that confirms Ethan verbally her, describing a pattern of controlling and threatening behavior. She mentions threats against her friends, reckless driving, and locking her up to keep her from leaving. Olivia announced her withdrawal from the show, claiming she worked hard to finally get out of the NDA shackles. What was most unnerving about this whole scenario was her accusing TLC of editing out the worst of everything that they captured. Someone please tell TLC to read the room. This is not the time to edit out. She also alleges the network allowed Kim Plath to negotiate her contract so Olivia was the only adult cast member not paid for season 1. She calls TLC completely unethical and accuses them of exploiting her while performing are given leverage.
He threatened to shoot my friends that he called out by name, that he thought were influencing me to be more liberal and open-minded. The morning we broke up, he told me he was buying guns to restore order. Later told me he never bought guns, he just said that to scare me.
Despite the disturbing evidence and public outcry in 2025, TLC did not cancel the show. Welcome to Plathville wrapped up its season 7 finale in 2025 and has no official statement about season 8. Level 7. God is silent. For the final segment of this iceberg, we didn't bring a show. Instead, we have a documentary that exposes the abuse of power and financial corruption within global Hillsong Church. Carl Lentz' affair with jewelry designer Reneen Karim is finally revealed publicly after he was fired by Brian Houston in 2020 for violating moral standards. His wife Laura also recalled walking in on Lentz and their former nanny, Kim's. The documentary reveals a pattern of indecent assault. In 2016, staffer Jason Mays drunkenly grabbed a student, Anna Crenshaw, inappropriately, exposing how the leadership preyed on those they were meant to protect.
And that's when he put his hand on my thigh. I just froze. And then that's when Jason grabbed me, and I'm trying to pull away from him, but he's latched on.
There's a separate, non-consensual allegation against former Dallas pastor Reed Boggard, and adult misconduct by pastors, especially Carl Lentz's affair, and other boundary violations, all contrasted with Hillsong's strict public teachings on sex and purity.
When we talk about Carl and purity, wolf in sheep's clothing is honestly the mental picture I get. It is literally the definition of a hypocrite.
What makes this disturbing is the hypocrisy baked into the institution. Hillsong preached purity to its members while pastors violated those same standards behind closed doors. The church has also been accused of demanding volunteer labor, often from young people who have worked unpaid for years, told their service was ministry, while the organization profited from their exploitation. Former members describe cult-like control. Leadership dictates who members can date, where they can live, and how they should spend their money. Therefore, any criticism was framed as spiritual rebellion, and questioning authority meant questioning God. Anyone who left was shunned, cut off from the community that by that point had become their entire social world.
But if a student does something wrong, you're sent home. It is serious. It is something they take really seriously.
This spiritual leverage was then weaponized for profit. Volunteers were told their unpaid labor was ministry, often struggling to pay their own rent, but their tithes were actually funding the pastor's designer lifestyles.
These guys are making serious cheddar off of a role that is funded by sacrificial donations of people that are trying to further the kingdom.
Consequently, funds were allegedly mismanaged while members were pressured to give more and told their financial sacrifice was a test of faith. Okay, let me get this straight. The pastors are using tithes to purchase designer items. The series also exposes racism and within Hillsong's culture. LGBTQ members are forced into conversion therapy or told to remain celibate. People of color are sidelined in leadership. The church's public image of diversity masks internal discrimination. Ultimately, Carl Lentz's affair wasn't an isolated incident. It was a symptom of this institutional rot. His celebrity pastor image, the designer clothes, the influencer lifestyle, and the access to fame were built on a foundation of exploitation and spiritual manipulation. Those were TV shows cut into episodes, But movies condense the horror into about 2 hours of pure, uncensored intensity. So, check out our video on some disturbing movies.